the greatest moment in my life.
Yo.
Yo ho ho.
Yo. How the devil are we all?
Do I get to say yo as well?
No.
No.
You've only been here 2 minutes. You're not allowed to say yo. That's what the cool kids say.
I was never part of the Cool Kids crew, hence why I'm on this show.
Look, straight away comes on as the first live guest and straight away abusing the show.
I appreciate
it. Work your magic, mate. Click on the thing to make him disappear like you do to me.
There we go. Now we've got rid of the trash.
People may notice that there is more than 2 of us. Look at that, eh?
1,
No.
2, 3. Yeah, there's 3.
There is 3 of us. Yes, well done, Benny. This is Mr. Benny Mack from various projects dotted all over the place, most notably via Radio Tekkers. At the moment, my partner in time on the waiting room.
Glad you're still saying
Benny, it's awesome to have you join us to look at a wrestling match that you seem to absolutely adore. You say it's one of your favourites.
Oh yeah, it was, as I was saying before we came on. Literally marks my year anniversary watching WWF at the time. So the Royal Rumble was literally the first show I ever properly saw, and just fell in love with the Royal Rumble match itself and loved the concept of it and it was a good way of learning who these people are as well. For me, seeing 30 wrestlers who I'd seen a few of them, but not many, obviously. So, and obviously it was a good night all around for the 2000 Rumble, and this one was no different, really. So,
yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, we'll get into the wrestling match itself, one of the better Royal Rumbles in a little while. But before we do, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening or watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live with Mags, Sai, and this week, Mr. Benny Mack, a Radio Tekkers production. I am Sai, and you've already heard the dulcet tones of Mr. Benny Mack. Alongside us this week, and as always, is the right to censor to my not very slender, the Royal Rumble to my drunken stumbles. They happen often, more than once a year. A podcaster who says the more the merrier inside his ring. I mean from a battle royal standpoint. I don't know where your minds are going. I mean from a battle royal standpoint, 50 men, 60 men, the more the merrier. The podfather himself, Mr. Mags. How are we doing, sir?
I'm offended. 60 men. 60 men. It'd be like a wizard sleeve. I'm doing really, really good. I'm doing
Glad
really
to hear
good.
it, bud. Glad to hear it.
Nice, quiet week.
Yeah.
In that kind of like period after New Year with no football and no UFC, we spent some quality time with Mrs. Mags before we hit the January run of never speaking to her again. Doing well.
As the last quality street comes out the tin, it's time to go back into your little hobbit hole of recording and come back out next December.
We're a Rosa's family in this house, sir.
Oh, I do apologise. Yes. Is there that much of a difference?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Is there?
What? Yeah.
Yes.
Don't they have a lot of the same sweets in them, just like different brands?
I mean, similar in the case of they're made out of chocolate, but not in terms of actual what the chocolates are. No.
You get a strawberry cream in both of them, don't you?
I don't think you get a strawberry in the quality street. It's orange cream.
Yes,
it is. Orange. Yeah. Don't you get an orange one in the roses as well, though?
I believe it's an orange crunch in the roses.
Oh, that's different.
Connoisseur over here.
Yeah, I know my roses, sir.
Yeah. And Quality Street, apparently.
Don't test man on these roses.
Yeah. Okay. We had some chocolates for Christmas this year that my wife's, she'll have to say in the chat, but I think it's her nephew bought for us, and they were in these 2 big, massive white long, but they were like a foot long. These things, and it's like a selection box. And they were amazing. They were those sort of chocolates where you have like 2 or 3 and you feel genuinely like you're going to vomit. They were that good, And
they sound delicious.
Yeah, they're amazing. They were so nice.
Chocolate.
It's because they're so sickly. It's not because they're gross. I wouldn't eat them if they were gross. But I said to Sharon, they're lush, they are. So, we should look into getting some more of them. I've never heard of them before. Sharon looked them up. The kids spent 25, 30 quid on us for Christmas for chocolate. Whereas I appreciate that. That's amazing. I think I'm going to wait until we get given it as a gift again, as opposed to go out and pay for it myself, because that's expensive, man.
I mean, you have been ripped off. Let's not be around the bush.
They were good.
So, for example, my advent calendar that I got this year, I actually waited till like near the middle of December to get it because I got a Reese's Pieces advent calendar for like £3.
Okay. And then you get the thing of, because you're halfway through the month, you can eat loads of them in one day to catch up.
You'd think so. But
Right.
I have a granddaughter who's about going on 3 years old, and she learned that everybody got an advent calendar, so she would go around everybody to have their chocolates.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Not really, because I got half of a Reese's cup every single day.
Oh, what? She put half of it back in?
No, I'd have to get the half before giving her the second.
Oh, I see. Oh, right, yeah, because that'd be a bit grim, wouldn't it? Because she's eating it and then put the other half back in. I don't know why that's where my mind went to straight away.
Well, no, instantly goes to a half-chewed chocolate. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's weird. That's very strange. Very
Eat
strange.
it and come back for that bit later, shall I?
Yeah, that's it. I'll tuck it behind this little. I'll tuck it behind this little cardboard door. We'll come back for that.
The secret stash that gets eaten straight away. Let's face it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We're all in denial. It's like popping a tub of Pringles, and let's face it, they're gonna go.
I'm all right with
the lid back on. They're
Pringles,
gonna go.
I'm all right with. Pringles, I'm all right with. A couple of Pringles, I'm okay with that. I don't know if it's the way they're cooked or whatever, fat or oil they use or whatever. If I eat too many Pringles, they make me feel a bit grotty, so I'm all right with that.
Yeah, Pringles have their own kind of self-defense mechanism with me, though, because I can only just get my hand like into a certain point before the fingers can't go anymore. So yeah, they kind of hard away.
But you end up tipping the tube.
I was going to say that's where you tip them.
Yeah, you end up tipping, but then all the little crumbs come out and go all over the bloody floor.
The trick is to put a piece of paper in and then slide them out.
That's too much effort for me. Just tip them.
To just go.
Look at this. This is the voice of experience. Yeah, that's a different podcast. Don't do that.
Yeah. Chain wrestling after dark.
After
coming
dark,
soon.
indeed.
I think it should be called. Sorry.
Shall we have a little look who's popped up in the chat, Magsy, before we get on with our non-wrestling topic this week?
Yes, we shall. So the effervescent Mrs. P in the chat. It's Monday night, so you know what that means. And Charlie, who we heard this week on SJP. That was cool.
She recorded that jingle a long time ago, so she may not understand what you're on about there.
Oh, right, okay. So
I'll play it later, Charlie.
and that episode of SJP with Scottish Danny, classic, really good episode. Well done.
Oh,
Conor McCabe in the chat. Hello, sir. How are you? Sharon, so the place you got your chocolate from was Hotel Chocolat, actually. My wife loves chocolate from Hotel Chocolat. I go on a website called Hot UK Deals, and I'm always having to scout for the Hotel Chocolat deals because other than that, normal price, it's scandalous, absolutely scandalous. But if you can nip in when there's a sale, you can get some really good bargains there.
I'll have to keep an eye on that, mate, because they were good. They were banging. They
are really good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So this week, our non-wrestling topic was to basically discuss entrance themes, as there were so many of them on the Royal Rumble episode. You get 30, don't you, for the Rumble itself? So, unless you start getting the nonsense like Right to Censor beeping their way to the ring every other entrant, that gets on my bloody nerves. But with a little bit of a twist, because it is the non-wrestling topic portion of the show, as opposed to anything wrestling orientated. So we asked about entrance themes in real life. If you could pick an entrance theme to walk into work and have playing every day, walk into the local shops, walk into school, college, wherever, just popping around your mate's house or going into the pub. Real life theme music to accompany you when you make a grand entrance. And we had some quite funny responses, to be fair. We've got, majority of them are on Twitter, Magsy, but there's one at the end that's on WhatsApp from our friend Matt Willis, but we'll get to that shortly.
The American Matt Willis right now, still partying up in Orlando with his brain freezers.
Getting regular images of him struggling because he's had something too cold. And he does look like he's in absolute pain, doesn't he?
But it's the definition of an idiot, because he keeps doing the same thing and expecting to not get brain freeze. Yeah,
it's not the best, is it? But he tried to explain this, didn't he? He was arguing back and forth with Graham, was it, from Good Cop, Bad Cop, about why don't you just not have cold stuff? And he's like, well, it's really hot here. And in typical Matt Willis fashion, I love the bloke. It went back and forth, and he just was not having it. He was like, no, I'm not going to stop eating ice cream. Shut up, Graham. Whether it hurts me or not, I'm going to power through.
So Matt is setting his ways, kind of like someone else who's in this very studio right here.
I'm not setting my ways. I just take a little bit of time to get my head around to new ideas. Okay. The wife said today, actually, the wife literally said today, about half an hour before we came on air, about changing the back room around. And our house is so small, we've got the fridge freezer and the fridge in the back room, as well as my desk, her desk. But so there's quite a bit there to move around in this tiny space. Just basically changing the whole back room. Normally, and Sharon will attest for this, if anything like that has to be done, she either has to do it when I'm at the house, or approach me with it about 2-3 weeks before she wants it to happen, so I can get my head around it. But no, today Sharon will test in the chat now. She said, "Oh, what about this?" I was like, yeah, same. Just do it.
I can see times where you have walked in that room and sat at the fridge, tried to turn it on like your computer. Like, where's my screen gone?
There are times like when I sit in my chair on my one end of the sofa. I'll sit there and put the TV on. I can tell if Sharon's dusted or vacuumed in certain areas, and had to like move the cabinet. And like it's like
Wow.
if it's like half an inch out, so I'm looking at the TV and I'm going, "This ain't right. Why is that? Why is this angle's not right?"
Oh my God!
Are you Monica from Friends? Sorry, what's going on?
Honestly, we've covered it in a previous episode. I think I've got some OCD issues with stuff like that. It drives me absolutely batty. When Magsy sits there sometimes and chastises me for coming on the show late or joining
like a naughty school child.
See, you don't actually go that bad, but I can tell it's your tone of voice. It's like I'll come on, or the messages I get. It'll be live in 3 minutes. Brilliant. And I'm just like, and I can read it. Well, I do read it in your accent as well. So it's literally you just coming across going, brilliant. I almost read it with you rolling your eyes at it, you know. But when I've been late on certain occasions,
make me roll my eyes at a hell of a lot.
There are certain times when I come on late, and it's because I'm trying to. I've got a laptop set up, and there's one cable that isn't fixed. It's quite loose, and if it's not sat right, it drives me mad when I'm sat here recording. So I've got to get that right before I start recording, or you're going to hear me going for a comment. And once I try and find, I've moved it now.
Oh wow!
No, it's not.
Anyway, as we were saying about the non-wrestling topic, and mentioning Graham from Good Cop Bad Cop as well, we'll start with him at Good Bad Wrestle, the Good Cop Bad Cop Wrestling podcast. Absolutely fantastic show there. Mr. Matt Willis joining us in the chat. Hello, Matt. Just talking about you. I was singing your praises, my friend. Magsy was saying he doesn't like you, but you know.
And I was absolutely slated him.
But yes, we're starting with the message from Good Cop Bad Cop on Twitter. He says the introvert in him hates the idea of an intro alerting people to him entering anywhere. So he's gone with the world's quietest song. Now, I'm no doubt that when the audio version comes out later in the week, there's going to be snippets of these songs dotted around the show somewhere. This one, I may not bother with, because if it's that quiet, we may not be able to hear it, I suppose.
The old static noise from the TV back in the day.
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds of silence.
We could do that now.
Yeah. I'm not going to. I will.
It didn't work, did it?
See, I was trying to do it, and I'm trying to think on my feet,
to save yourself having to insert some silence. You thought, I'll get it out of the way now, but then I went and ruined it.
And you just wouldn't shut up.
I know what I feel like. So when I'm editing the waiting room, all right?
Oh, mate,
I'm actually concerned about this one, because this makes me feel that Gray wants to go around sneaking about and kind of going under the radar. Suspicious. I'm suspicious of Graham for this one.
Yeah, like the sly little ninja just creeping around behind people and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, swiping their phones and their wallets and whatnot.
And biscuits, swiping the biscuits.
Biscuits?
Yeah.
Why specifically biscuits?
Not specific, any biscuit, whichever biscuit.
Well, no, I'm not saying which specific biscuit, am I? I'm not saying I'm not robbing those digestives. Oh no, I want rich tea only.
Yeah.
I meant biscuits in general. Why are you specifically saying biscuits?
Firstly, who picks rich tea over digestives? That's
Ludicrous.
someone on a register.
I like
clearly.
Seriously, is this the way this is going to be? This is why I fear change. Okay, we've got a guest on, and I'm getting ganged up on now. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like I normally am, just watching from the chat room at the moment. This is hilarious. To be honest,
I like rich tea biscuits. All right, they're not my favorite, they're not my go-to, but I'd have that over a digestive. Yeah,
rich tea is just a coaster. That's all it is.
Yeah. Rich tea, you need 5 held together, dipped in your brew, and then pulled out as quick as possible because they'll just disintegrate. Yeah,
but I don't. We've been through this before, haven't we? I don't dip it in my tea.
Yeah, there's just plenty of things wrong with you.
No,
I don't know how we're friends. I really don't know how we're friends.
I didn't realise we were.
We're clearly not now. It's like I don't know you.
Well, we've said this before on the show, haven't we, about dipping biscuits in tea and hot chocolate and whatever you have, coffee, whatnot. Okay, my kids sometimes will have biscuits to dip in their tea in the morning or their hot chocolate. I'm the one who's got to clean the biscuit sludge left in the bottom. It's gross. It's like chocolate phlegm. It's minging. It's like this thick, gooey kind of gack in the bottom of the cup, and I don't like that. That kind of texture, I don't like it. Same as the custard, the skin on custard, that kind of blobby, don't like it.
Don't eat it then.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't eat, and that's why I don't dunk my biscuits. See,
I mean, could you not just tip it into the bin or into the? Well,
yeah, but I've still got to deal. And my point is, if I dunk into my own cup of tea, then I'm making more of that for myself, aren't I? And I don't like it.
Well, only if you like. So slow that you'll lose your biscuit. If you dunk and it's still whole when it comes out, you've won the game.
Yeah, but you're going to get bits like crumbs, aren't you? I
mean, this has certainly took a tangent from Graham liking the world's quietest song to Sardi's horrific take on biscuits.
Graham the biscuit thief has started an argument. Shall we move on? Because whatever I say, I'm going to be wrong, aren't I? So. Connor, our good friend Connor at Connor Knows Stuff on Twitter, he's picked a wrestling theme, to be honest, to have as he enters his work, his shops, and so on. And he's going with the Run DMC D-Generation X theme, The Kings, from WWF Aggression CD. I don't think I ever owned that one.
Oh, it's a great CD. It's really hard to get hold of. At least I can't find it anyway. Some great music on there, to be fair.
I've got a few of them. Like I've got 3 or 4 maybe of the music CDs downstairs, but they're in a box up here, one or the other. I've got the one that's got the 3 discs, so you've got like the 80s.
The anthology.
Yeah, that's good. But it's all on Spotify now, isn't it? I suppose. So.
Do you know? I don't know if this Aggression one is on Spotify.
I don't think it is. I tried on because I'm on iTunes, so I was trying to look for it and. It's quite hard to get hold of. Whether it's because of the actual artists involved with the songs as well, because obviously the only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Run DMC D-Generation X is absolutely amazing. I used to love that when it used to come on, just the electronic sound and everything kicking in, and just like I wish they kept it. But obviously, I'm guessing they licensed it for a while and then that's it. So
I think
because they're the DX band, didn't they?
I think this is the same CD what had the Austin remix with the lyrics as well.
Oh, that was Drowning Pool, wasn't it? Was it Drowning Pool that did that version?
Oh, was it? No,
I think it might have been.
I can't remember who did that now.
I'll have to look that up. But for some reason, there's Drowning Pool in the back of my head. I could be completely wrong.
Oh, it's Disturbed, isn't it? It's Disturbed.
Disturbed. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I knew it began with a D.
I started typing in and I remembered it as I was typing ST. I got to. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, Disturbed. Yeah, that's a good tune as well, man. Even wrestling aside, it's a good tune. You know. Next up, we have at Handy T1TF, good friend of the show, and this is an absolute banger of a record. He has selected "Bad Company" by the band Bad Company. Now, if anyone's not heard this, people more recently may have heard the Five Finger Death Punch cover of it, which again is a fantastic cover version as well. But Bad Company, I think it's Paul Rodgers was the vocalist. He sang for Queen for a short period as well. Sang for the band 3 as well for a little while. Absolutely brilliant singer. Absolutely fantastic. And that tune, Bad Company by Bad Company, that's a banger of a record, lads.
Yeah, great pick.
I agree. And this is gold as well. This is gold from our good friend Scottish Danny at Scottish Juggalo on Twitter, or Colin McAldy, as he is going to be known.
Oh, we got into a real Twitter chat about this one.
Yeah, I think again it is similar to how we were discussing Graham having the quietest song in the world as his entrance theme, and we end up talking about Dunking Biscuits. I think this conversation on Twitter got away from us a bit as well, Mags, to be fair. I think it kind of snowballed a touch. Danny says, every time he nips into Tesco's for a meal deal, he wants Gangrel's theme playing as he enters the doorway. Rude baths included. Now, that is a brilliant,
I like that.
entrance theme. That is great. But it sticks in my head as
very
well.
messy. Very messy for the Tesco staff to have to deal with.
You can just imagine it, like, can't you? Danny sort of walking across the car park, and they're all screaming, "Don't let him in! Don't let him in!" He does walk through the automatic doors.
You are barred.
That bloodbath is just going to ruin his BLT. That's all that's going to happen.
That's right. The bread's going to go all stoggy, isn't it? But, blood everywhere on the deck, and just one solitary little dude at the back with his caution wet floor sign and a mop trudging over, to sort out Danny's mess.
He has his own personal mop assistant because he's just waiting by the door. And the music comes on. Right, I'm ready.
In my head, I picture this guy to be working part-time because he's semi-retired, and his name's Malcolm. I don't know why. So
Malcolm.
Poor Malcolm. Danny messing up Malcolm's floor every other day to get himself a freaking meal deal. Make your wrap at home. Stop messing Malcolm's floor up. But anyway,
you're right, Si.
Mate, I'm buzzing today. I'm in a fantastic mood. I'm flying. I got my can of ginger monster here as well. So yeah, I'm loving life at the moment.
Grammy.
But yeah, it kind of got away from us a bit, Mags, didn't it? Do you want to talk through why Danny has now got a new name?
You had, at least it isn't because that means he's the fucking delinquent. But yeah, you actually started the ball rolling when you asked him if it was just Tesco's, and then if he had a different theme for Asda or Morrison's. So that gave me the in to start causing ruckus. So I said when he goes to Aldi, he plays the Christian, at last you're on your own.
It's a no from me, I'm afraid.
But yeah, that ended up leading to him being called Colin Aldi. Oh no, we said that Aldi wouldn't be able to afford the rights to the Christian song, so I changed it up to Colin, you've arrived here by yourself. So that led to him being called Colin. Yeah, the Scottish Juggalo, Colin McAldy. So that's how I'm going to refer to him on every episode of A Changing Attitude from now on.
That's it. That's his working name. That's
his gimmick name.
His gimmick name, yeah. Like Mags isn't actually your name. Benny Mac isn't fully your name, I guess, as well. So this is his working name.
Your name's not SJP Words.
No, my name's Si. Just before it says SJP Words there, don't you see? Can you see? Because I'm not inventive enough to think of a working name, mate. I'm not clever enough to do that. So I literally just picked my initials.
You're like Simon Dean from the WWE version, aren't you? That's what
except without the fitness gimmick, obviously.
That guy was not fit. That guy he just put on a freaking bloody purple tracksuit, and that was it. He weren't bloody fit. No way.
Is it velour? Was it? Is that how you say it? Velour tracksuit?
Don't do that.
That sends tingles.
Well, I'm glad you stipulated spine. I was a bit concerned where you were going with that. Anyhow, Dan Griffin, who has abandoned us this evening to go
again. This must be like 3 episodes in a row now. He's ditched us. I don't think he should be part of the CWF anymore.
I don't know. We'll have to put it to a vote, or he has to do something exceedingly nice to make it up to us, like send us cakes or something.
Or maybe record an episode of a certain Doctor Who podcast. That could get him in the good books.
Oh, well, yeah, we did record one last night, and to be fair, my internet was terrible yesterday, and I messed him around no end. We recorded like 15 minutes, so I had to disconnect, reconnect, and so on. So yeah, fair play to Dan for tolerating that bullshit, because it was absolute nonsense. I don't know what the hell was going on with it. But it's all right today, thankfully. Dan says, and it's at Dan Griffin 21 on Twitter, good friend of the show, Dan Griffin, says here, on the way to the pub, he wants playing One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer by George Thorogood. Now that's good. When he's heading to the fridge hungover, Bring Me to Life by Evanescence.
That's good.
And he says here, he'd also make it so that when anyone he doesn't like farts in public, it would play Let It Go from Frozen, so everyone knows who's gaffed. The thing is, though, if they just played Let It Go and you're in a group of people, I still think you need some kind of visual aid, like maybe like an arrow pointing down or something like that, because it could be.
Oh, they get covered in snow.
Ah, yeah, like a Frozen food bath or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Your theme song should be "Let It Go." When things are changing, just let it go, mate. Let it
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, potentially. It's never going to happen, mate. I'm 41 in a few weeks. If I haven't changed by now, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not here to change you. I'm just here to enjoy the show.
Excellent stuff. Glad to hear it. Dan's partner in crime from the UTT podcast at UTT Rob. He says, sorry. He says, Sid's WCW dub theme on loop for all occasions. Now, we've had a conversation about Sid's theme before, haven't we? Now, when he says the dub theme, I'm assuming he means the one that is literally dubbed over on the network.
Yeah, the generic theme that he's now got on the network, I assume.
Because he did use...
It's a massive bugbear.
Yeah, because it's like a... they kind of mock up the real theme, don't they, as close as they can, but it's never quite good enough. And I think it was a Scorpions track, wasn't it, that we'd found out on a previous episode.
So,
and I ended up tracking the Scorpion track down, and it's really, really, really good song. But the dub version, Sid's one, that doesn't spring to mind. I don't recognize that.
I've not watched enough Sid WCW on the network to say what the track is. I've watched plenty of Sid WWF, especially his 1996 run, and you know that's actually not bad theme music. It certainly fits him.
That sort of psycho.
That really fits him.
What do you mean you've not seen enough of Sid Vicious and WCW? What have you been doing with your life?
I know. I mean, I get to the point where he breaks his leg, and the point where he says he's got half the brains that you do.
Yeah,
and I just can't. I can't take him anymore. Or when he gets his car squashed, that bit is hilarious. But yeah, the in-ring stuff, couldn't give a toss about.
No,
sorry, Sid.
Fair enough. He doesn't care enough anyway. He goes off and plays bloody softball rather than wrestle.
Imagine ditching wrestling every year for softball.
Hey, Sid, do you want to take over from Hulk Hogan and potentially be the biggest name in wrestling and make millions and millions of dollars? No, I'm all right, Vince, actually. I'm gonna nip off and play softball with my mates, all right? What is that guy thinking?
I mean, softball is essentially rounders, isn't it?
Is it?
It's pretty much rounders.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay. The ball's like massive, though, isn't it? It's like...
I don't know, is it?
I think so.
The ball's bigger, isn't it?
Yes, it's like huge,
Yeah.
Like a football.
No, not the size of a football.
Like one of those small, crappy little balls you get at the beach.
Like a size,
like
size 3 or something, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've never looked at the size of the balls. Do they have sizes on them? I never noticed.
That needs clipping. I've never looked at the size of the balls. Brilliant.
Do they have the sizes on them? Yeah, it depends if you go for that tattoo design or not. You know, yeah, like in the Premier League and so on, they're a size 5. That's like a proper match ball. It's a size 5.
Oh, okay.
Most training balls are a size 4, and then the little mini ones are a size 3.
Okay. So what's a size 1 ball?
Well, it's obviously just fucking smaller, isn't it?
Is that a ping pong ball?
No, it's like
a marble.
A marble. Oh, 5 Nerds Go at 5 Nerds Go on Twitter. And this is something we're going to have to put on the audio version for people to hear. He says, for any other occasion, well, at work, he says he would like lift music playing all the time. Now that, that's just going to annoy everyone. I suppose that's the purpose for it. Otherwise, he would like the loop tuba from Family Guy playing at any other occasion. And he sent a video which I clicked on. And the headline of the video on YouTube is Loop Tuba 10 Horas. Now, in hindsight, I can see.
You didn't realise that was a 10-hour video,
yeah,
did you?
it means 10 hours.
Hours, yeah.
And I was like, what's that then? So I clicked play and I started listening and I was like, okay, is this going to change?
45 minutes in. Like,
is this gonna kick in a minute? This is a long tuba intro. I mean,
three YouTube adverts later.
Yeah,
still going.
Start waiting for the beat to drop. When's this beat gonna kick in?
Yeah. The whistles coming in, like, you know, and all the drum and bass. And so I clicked on it and I realized I was about 6 minutes in. And it said and it said 9. I was doing other things. I weren't just sat watching the tuba video.
No, you were sat there
wondering what was happening. Yeah.
and when you say 6 minutes, I think 6 hours.
Yes, yeah. Click on it and it says 4 hours remaining. Oh my god. I'm over halfway now. I might as well stick it out, see what happens at the end, eh? Oh, it's just like watching How I Met Your Mother, isn't it? Fighting through to find out what happens at the end, and then in the end realizing it's just
that's a great show. Don't be knocking How I Met Your Mother.
I have never watched one single episode.
Barney is a great character. Everybody else, everybody else on that show is a prick. They're incredibly unlikable. The main character, Ted, is a fucking knobhead. I want to fight him. He's a dick.
Wow. Harboring some deep torment about Ted.
I was going to have a comeback, but I think I'll just leave that there because 6 hours of Luba. Luba? What the hell am I on about?
Steve-O on Twitter, good friend of the show, at Total Steve-O is his handle. Go chuck him a follow there. He says, it's not directly answering the question, but every time he hears Edge's name, he constantly sings on on this day from his theme tune in his head. It just triggers the music in his mind. And Randy Orton's is another one. When he hears Randy Orton's name, he starts humming along or singing, I hear voices in my head, and just sing that repeatedly. And it is, both of those tracks are, I suppose, similar to The Brood for me as well, I guess. When you hear them, or when you think of that individual, the music is so synonymous with them. And it does just loop in your mind, like an earworm, they call it, don't they? It just drives me mad, you know?
Well, Triple H's Motorhead, I would say, is probably one of them for me, to be honest. You hear Triple H's name, and even though I do miss his My Time one from like in the early 2000s before he changed, even though as much as I love the Motorhead one, that one was pretty cool back in the day because the heel, everything he was doing. So definitely gets stuck in my head, definitely.
Yeah,
but Motorhead, you can't fault.
Yeah, they're a bunch of wrestling themes that kind of, the songs are so good that they make their way into your regular playlist a lot of the time. I know I've got Edge's Metal Ingus on my playlist.
That one.
So
great track, yeah.
Who did the one? But was it Rob Zombie? Did one for him beforehand as well?
Yeah, he was. Never Gonna Stop. Yeah.
That was okay. I mean, it's not the best Rob Zombie track ever, but that worked as well for a while, I suppose. So.
I had Bobby Roode's Glorious stuck in my head for an entire shift once.
Amazing.
No, that
amazing.
It was good for the first month or so.
Yeah,
after that, it got annoying.
His NXT debut was fantastic. That was in the NXT takeover that he had that theme and everybody singing it. It was such a cool moment to finally see him in WWE. But I think after a while, it simmered down, didn't it? So
Whereas Aleister Black's NXT theme, that was a banger.
Yeah, that's one that's gone into like my regular playlist as well.
Yes,
that's a great. His music for AEW as well. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a lot more hardcore than his NXT one, but yeah, it's still a good one.
Yeah. We continue with Steve-O. Talking of theme songs, he genuinely can't stand the Undertaker's theme stroke entrance. Skips it every time. Oh, wow. Really?
How dare you, Steve-O? How dare you? Yeah.
However, his late 98 into 99 theme with the guitar is sublime, and he watches entrance all the time with that tune.
That's a great track, actually. Is it Ministry? Is that the Ministry
right, yeah.
theme on about? Yeah,
it's
a great tune.
But I mean, skipping.
Don't skip it. What's the matter with you?
He's had some of the best. Yeah, he's had some of the best entrances of all time with the Druids, and it's been amazing. So you're wrong, Steve-O.
You're wrong.
There's three of us. You're wrong.
Wrong.
You are. And talking to Steve-O, he's obviously part of the team at Elite FPL. who do fancy football, but he's got his own channel where he listens and reacts to like hardcore rock and kind of like headbanger music. Honestly, that's not my bag. I'm not into that kind of music, but watching him headbang to that music is so heartwarming because you can see how much he loves it. So yeah, definitely go and check out Steve-O's channel because it's a hell of a lot of fun.
And you get a bit of air drumming, and then a bit of the air bass guitar is my favorite because he plays the bass high. You know, it's good,
and it's the earphones for me as well because the wire is just going everywhere because he's so into the song. How those earphones don't pop out of his ears is beyond me. But yeah, it's cool seeing you having so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. Go find Steve-O's YouTube stuff. You can find him on Twitter at Total Steve-O. And I no doubt that there'll be links available there, but we'll share some links from the Chain Wrestling account as well for Steve-O's YouTube channel and so on. Well worth a look. It's brilliant. He also did a reaction video. I think that's the right term, isn't it? Reaction video or play along or however it's worded to A Coming Tide, which is the Awake by Design song that my brother is the vocalist for. That is the theme tune for the SJP podcast, whenever I decide to chuck random episodes of that out.
After you got pulled for YouTube copyright claiming.
The copyright claim from a song that you said would be okay to use.
Don't blame me because some Turkish people have claimed a song that quite clearly was not theirs. Yeah, it's horrendous.
The thing is, it was theirs, Maxie. That's the thing. I looked into it. I found them on Spotify.
Okay, so
basically, I'll explain for those who don't know. The original theme that was used for, I don't know, best part of 50 episodes of SJP, the kind of just instrumental song that played, was off a website that effectively said the music was available. You could use it. It was non-copyrighted. It was free to use, and so on. So I had this on the SJP show from episode 1, running right the way through. It was on there for a very long time, and then. The first show that went up on YouTube for Radio Tekkers, it flagged up with a copyright issue for this particular song. So it is what it is. If somebody's claimed it, so be it.
It flagged up for 2 copyrights because
2 songs.
There was like about 3 seconds of the NWO theme music that was in the episode as well. And they flagged it for that as well. But yeah, ridiculous.
But this track here. We'll call it the Turkish track because it's by a Turkish band. It's been used so much. It flagged up on YouTube, so that made me curious then as to go and have a look as to why this has been. The NWO, for a couple of seconds of that being used, I can understand why that may have flagged up. I fully appreciate that. But looking at the other one, I was like, okay, so why is that flagged up as well then? Because that's from the site that we all thought was okay to use and had claims on there saying everything is sound, crack on, whatever. It turns out somebody had uploaded effectively the whole back catalogue from this little band in Turkey up onto this site, and they didn't know. And the only reason I found out it was actually them was because I managed to track them down on Spotify. Now, by no means are they, the Rolling Stones or anything like that. So they've not got
they're shit. Basically, they are shit.
They've got like effectively a 1,000 plays for this song, and this song was their biggest one as well. So it's not like they're, getting groundbreaking numbers, but they're creating music and they're loving it. So good luck to them, of course. But it just made me laugh how it's like this tiny little band in a country miles and miles and miles away have tagged my little podcast and gone, excuse me, I wrote that. Just funny how it works out, isn't it? But there we go. And finally, we have Mr. Matt Willis sent to us via WhatsApp. He says, for entrance music, he has some belters here. And he's took it quite literally, the tweets, when I sort of gave suggestions of walking into work or school or whatever. In my head, I was thinking you can
he does this. I predict he does this.
Right, okay.
Honestly, I believe whatever song, I don't even know the list of songs yet, but I believe he'll have them on his phone, in his ears. As he does these things, he'll be listening to this music.
Do you reckon it is in his ears, or do you reckon it's literally just playing?
Yeah, just loud, so everybody in the hospital can hear.
Yeah, and his phone, and to make sure that it can be heard properly, his phone's not like in his pocket. His phone is heard, yeah. To make sure it can be heard with your ears properly, it's clipped to his belt like Dwight from The Office, so the speaker can just play. You know. Matt says, walking into work, he would have Bombshell by Paraman 5000, used by the Dudley Boys after a 2002 reunion. Just to remind everyone that he was there.
Get up, get up, get up.
Yeah.
Drop
Okay.
Bombshell.
Great. Yeah, that was a great track. I heard that in a film as well, randomly. I can't remember what film it was now. I'm like, that's the freaking Dudley Boys music. What's it doing in this film?
That is good. When I read it, I didn't twig what it was, but you sort of singing it there made me amazingly realise what it was.
Yeah, it was
kind of what words and lyrics do.
Yeah.
It's a yes for me this time.
Paraman 5000, I think, are they like Rob Zombie's brothers or nephews? Or there's some relation to Rob Zombie as well, I think. I'm not sure, but they got similar sounds to Rob Zombie as well, haven't they? I think so.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Pop in around a mate's house. He would use Viva la Raza. My mates were always my extended family growing up, and we would always push the limits to win at video games, etc. So it seems appropriate.
Sorry, lie, cheat, and steal.
He would entering his mum's house at Christmas time. Glorious Domination, the Bobby Roode theme that we mentioned previously. He says, got to psych out the family before any games are played, apparently. But it's quite competitive, isn't it, on Christmas Day around Matt Willis's house?
It seems so. I didn't realise it was that competitive, but yeah, I don't think the Glorious one fits as well as the first two, though.
Okay. Arriving at the shops. I walk alone by Saliva, because at the moment you should be going shopping alone.
Yes.
Is that the Batista?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Was that Saliva who did that, was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
The one that I think it's Xavier Woods did backstage.
Yeah.
And he like danced along to it. And it was.
Good.
Yeah.
It is a tune.
It is.
Wandering down Main Street, USA at Magic Kingdom. Go the Distance, reprised by Roger Bart. The fanfare is amazing, and played on actual trumpets live would be insane. I don't really know what that is.
Yeah, same. You're on your own with that one, Matt.
I will look it up though, Matt. I will check it out. That is it then from all the social medias with regards to our non-wrestling topic today. What about you boys? If you had theme music to play, entering work, or just music for your life in general, what would you go with?
Yeah, there's only one. There's only one you could go with. It's the Eric Bischoff theme music.
Okay.
What, the WWE one? I'm back.
I'm back. I'm better than ever. Yeah,
and that works all the time. Even if you're sat down with your wife watching telly and you just nip to get a cup of tea and you're gone 2 minutes, you come back and you're back again, aren't you? So it works every time.
Exactly.
Based on my current job, I would say would be War. Why can't we be friends? Because I work in retail, and I tell you what, there are some freaking, what's the word I can use on this podcast? Knob jockeys,
right,
floating around.
Pimple dicks.
Yes, pimple dicks. That's it. I should have said that, shouldn't I, on this show? So yeah. Off the top of my head, I'm going to go with that for the moment. It might be different every week you ask me, to be totally honest. Having said that, Stone Cold's Disturbed theme I freaking love. So that's when you're about to go and kick somebody's freaking ass, calling you an idiot for IDing them. We'll leave it at that. So
the Stone Cold theme itself is so symbolic because of the glass breaking, isn't it? That's the glass breaks and everyone gets the actual music, not the Disturbed one, the normal one, the instrumental one. It's not actually that great a theme, is it? But it's so iconic because of the glass, you know.
There's someone in the chat I know will disagree with you.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
it's not great
quality,
is it?
Well, mate,
I'm not saying this.
We're not putting up with that. We're not putting up with that slander. Apologise, and you can come back. You take that back.
I was going to say, how can you hear if I've apologised or not if you keep muting my mic? Well, I got to hold up a sign.
I thought there was something wrong then for a second, and I was like, "What's going on?"
No, he mutes me all the time. You know, he mutes me all the time.
Somebody has to.
You can't deal with this level of awesome, Benny.
It's got to do. It's a good idea, Max. I'm taking notes for the waiting room season 2.
See, for me, it would be quite simple. There's a song called "Born to Run" by a band called Phantom Blue, and I will play a bit of that. That is fantastic. It's sort of early 90s rock.
That's
and
the Bruce Springsteen track.
No. They were nowhere near as big as Bruce Springsteen. It's an all ladies early 90s rock group, and this was probably their biggest single. And there's a video on YouTube as well, "Born to Run" by Phantom Blue. You can't find it anywhere on Spotify or iTunes or anywhere like that. It's just literally on YouTube as a video because of the level they got to. But they released a few albums until one guitarist got quite poorly and passed away, and the band kind of split. But that was really good. And the woman singing, she can really sing. She is fantastic. Or the aforementioned song by Wait by Design used for the SJP pod. I love that record. My brother did. I think that's great.
Maybe a little bit of bias. Yeah.
Well, potentially
a little bit of bias.
I'm honest.
But it is a great
there's a lot of stuff that my brother's done, especially in previous bands. I don't play at all. I don't like it, and I'll be honest with you. This though, and that album, that's the best work he's done. That's fantastic. Yeah. And the obvious one, simply the best one, Tina Turner. That would suit me to the ground.
I can imagine you actually rocking around and listening to that on the bus to work. You listening to Simply the Best.
Yeah, as I'm going in, yeah. As I'm going in, I'm gonna mop the floors. I'm looking at all the other cleaners, and I'm like, I'm better than you. My floors are cleaner than you because I'm the best.
Well, actually, using that buffer, I'm simply the best. Down.
And my legs go all wonky like Tina Turner's, but not because I'm trying to dance like her, just because the buffer's shaking me around.
It's because you're in those high heel shoes. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, I've been told they're not safe for work, but I will wear them. It's my choice. Magsy, what do we have in the chat, my friend?
Well, we've actually got NJB88 over on Twitch saying that the NWO Wolfpack was always one of those favourite intros, but they disagree about Disturbed's rendition of the Stone Cold theme, saying that they ruined it when they changed it.
Did they ruin it, or do you just fear change like me?
Yeah, it could be another side.
You know what? I know NJB. He's a guy on my channel sometimes, and I would say he's very much like Si, fears change.
Resistant to change.
I would say that, actually, yeah.
Me and you together, NJB, we'll fight the world.
So, popping in late, Colin McAldy, the Scottish juggler from Maidstone, Kent, popping in. Again, a lot of abuse for having cream soda. And Matt,
yes, Matt.
And Matt also gave us a lot of info about the remixed WWE song, saying that they're on Forcible Entry, which is not on the Apple Music in the UK. I remember having that. It'll be somewhere in my stack of CDs. But yeah, unfortunately, he says it's not available in the UK. But yeah, other than that, the CWF are doing what they do, chatting between themselves and paying very little attention to us.
Which is the best way to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one last comment popping up there. I love this. Sharon saying hi to Colin McAldy as well. So.
How cool is it though? We'll put a name out there and it sticks, and now he'll forever be known as Colin McAldy.
Colin McAldy, the middleweight champion from Kent, Scottish juggalo, Colin McAldy.
Just Matt's comment here, just ball is massive, just out of context as to what you want about.
It's obviously.
And the poll never bothered him anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, ball's that big, why would it? So,
and then let's end on this one. Obviously, Si is just sad because he hates change. Very, very true.
This is true. I can't help the way I am. It's just me. So there we go. So shall we have a look at some wrestling, fellas?
No, I've had enough now with all these theme tunes. Nah, come on, let's do it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okie doke. The winner of the poll this week was me. Loving it.
What's that? 2, maybe 3 in a row.
I know. I'm amazed. I'm still like 5 or 6 behind you, I think, overall. Over like what is it?
It's not a competition.
Shows. No. It's just fun taking part.
It's killing him that he ain't winning.
It's fun for you.
One of my favourite clips was going back from when I was going back through the shows to put together like a best of. I didn't include it this time. One of my favorite clips is from an episode that Mag's entitled "Size Win Streak is Savage," because I'd won about 5 in a row, and Mag's having a little sulk because he hadn't won a poll for a while. It was just brilliant because I started to feel sorry for him until at the end he started calling me names when I was playing it back. But yeah, 2 or 3 in a row, mate. I'm quite happy with that. It's obviously going to go to shit this week, because that's the way it runs for me. I never put on a big run together like you do. So,
I mean, you never know. You could, depending on your pick, you could be a winner. Although you have got 2 to go against this time.
It's going to be interesting.
So I might know mine already, so I'm worried that he's going to steal mine. So I'm going to be left here going,
flapping at the end.
That's happened to me where
I have a backup just in case, actually.
Yeah. So for context, that's what I do. I normally have 2 picks in case. I always go first anyway, so it's in case I change my mind. But the one time Sa didn't have 2 picks was the time I picked the one he wanted.
Oh, no.
So, all the wrestling matches in the world. And I just kind of sat there going, oh, shit, typing away frantically whilst Max was talking, trying to find so much there. Anyway, this week's poll winner was the 2001 Royal Rumble. One of the better Rumbles, I think. I mean, I always enjoy a Royal Rumble anyway. I mean, to me, 93 is probably the worst of all time, I think. Just because of the standard of guys in there and so on. And it's not an enjoyable match. But even that, I can sit and watch still, because I just bloody love a Royal Rumble. So a good Rumble, to me, is a bloody great match. And this is the reason Mr. Benny Mac wanted to join us this week, because this is a match and a time period you're really favourable for.
2001 for me is a freaking great year, despite what most people say about going forward, the invasion stuff that happened. Me being not a massive WCW fan, again, I know who people were, and it was a shame that we didn't see some of the bigger names come over, but I loved the invasion angle at the time. I thought it was great. So this whole year, really, up to Survivor Series, I would say a little bit after as well, but it's very good. And yeah, this marked the year anniversary of me watching WWF wrestling really for the first time. So, and then to see, so obviously previously Austin comes back and everything, and we have the build up to it in the whole rivalry with Triple H and himself, obviously. But obviously we're talking about the Royal Rumble, but the Rumble match, before we came on, I was already spouting off stuff that happened, and I watched it earlier, and even it's probably been, I want to say 2-3 years since I've watched it, and I'm still like grinning and smiling and laughing at it in those particular moments. And there are certain things, not just the laughing moments. I remember, obviously we'll get into it, but there's when Bradshaw gets in the ring and hits that clothesline from Hell on the Rock, and I still go, fuck.
Yeah.
So it's a great match. Yeah, it's a great time of, I know it's the tail end for most people for the Attitude Era, but for me, I'm like a year in. I feel like I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm understanding what's going on, and I'm loving every freaking minute of it at this point in my life. So it's a Royal Rumble 2001 is like, 2000's good, but 2001 for me is like right up there. So.
So we did Royal Rumble 2000 a few weeks back, Max, didn't we? It was a selection of yours that won the poll, and we marked that one fairly different, didn't we? I marked it quite low. You marked it fairly high. Do you remember?
I do. I was available for that show.
He was there.
Okay, he was there.
I'm
just seeing if you do so many podcasts. I imagine after a while they just blend into one.
You know, it sometimes feels like that. Especially when it comes to intros. I'm forever doing the wrong intro for a podcast.
Fantastic. So, Magsy, with regards to the 2001 Rumble, then, how long has it been since you've actually watched this match? And as a general overall kind of view, before we get into a few more of the moments that happen, what were your thoughts watching back on this occasion?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like you. Royal Rumbles are my go-to. If I've got an hour or two to spare and I'll pop on the network, it's more than likely I'll go to a Royal Rumble, because they're just so entertaining. Very basic in terms of wrestling. It's usually a lot of punch, kick, elbow stuff, but it's the excitement of seeing so many wrestling superstars. Then you get the returns and the surprises. Yeah, I absolutely love a Royal Rumble, and I kind of agree with Benny that this is, whilst I won't say it's my favourite Royal Rumble, certainly probably top 3. This is it's jam-packed with stars, and it's got the perfect blend of huge names, really good kind of mid-card wrestlers, interesting and surprising returns, and then that little bit of kind of a mainstream star power that wrestling needs to kind of cross over. Yeah, I think this is a top-notch Royal Rumble, one that I think I last watched maybe a year or two ago. So it's not that long. It's quite fresh, but yeah, I'm happy going back and watching this Royal Rumble over and over again. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I'm the same. I really enjoyed watching it back, and it's probably, if I had to put a number on it, I think I'll be very similar to you, Max. Saying it's in the top 3 for me, I guess. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of all time, but yeah, that's it's right up there. But I understand that to a lot of people as to why it is their personal favorite. Because
yeah, so what's your top 3 then?
My top 3. Well, this one, 92, and what year was it where Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker were the final 2 and they put on like a mini match? Was that 2007 or 2008 potentially?
I think
2008
was the comeback of Cena, wasn't it?
In Madison Square Garden, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So potentially after that then.
Yeah, so 2007, I think, and then I think Taker was the first one ever to win it at number 30. Nobody had ever won it at number 30. If I remember rightly, 2008, as Mag said, Cena returned, but I think Shawn Michaels and Taker actually started that Rumble as well in 2008. Yeah. So it was the last 2
started the following year.
That's how I remember it anyway. So
it might be a bit later than that. I'll have to look it up, but that one there is brilliant. And being such a big Shawn Michaels fan, I was so wanting him to win this. Having that extended period at the end of the match was a big. Granted, he didn't win the match, of course, but it was still fantastic for me as a fan. So, what about you, Mags? If this was part of your top 3, what would you be having?
Yeah, so this 2001, 1992. I think that's the standard bearer for Royal Rumbles. But for me personally, I think the best one was Austin's second win in 98.
Okay.
Where, I mean, I know it's not looked back favorably because of him kind of like cleaning house and stuff like that, but it was the way the whole show was built around him having a massive target on his back. And the moment his music hits and everybody stops farting in the
looks
ring,
down the aisle,
looks to wait for him and he sneaks in the back and yeah, just a great Rumble.
Yeah, it is very good.
I'm gonna have to watch that one. I don't think I've watched that one actually.
Oh, really? You'll enjoy it. It's
so. Not what Mags is saying is not sort of ringing any bells, no pun intended. So I'm have to look at that.
It's got the iconic front cover, hasn't it, on the old DVDs or VHS tapes and so on, of the back of Austin's head with the Royal Rumble sign
with all the nails in, kind of like pinhead.
Yeah. See, I'm surprised you didn't go 97, Maxie, because I always thought you really, really enjoyed that one.
I do enjoy 97. That would probably edge maybe 4th or 5th. I really like the Cena return. I think that's the way he kind of like became Superman, coming back after essentially ripping all of his muscle from his chest, and then back 3-4 months later. That would be in the top 5, but 97 would definitely make it in that top 5. But if I were to pin down 3, it'd be 98, 1992, and this one 2001.
Interesting. Okay, Benny, what about you then, my friend?
I mean, 2001 will always be, whether it's 3rd, 2nd, or 1st, will always be in my top 3. Excuse me, the memories are there. I mean, I was thinking while Mags was talking and you guys, because I'm trying to think of my favorites, because I love the Rumble as a match anyway. Like Mags said, I've done that many a times, picked a Rumble and just put the Rumble match on and just watched it. I kind of want to do a special mention just quickly. The first ever Women's Royal Rumble was freaking awesome. It was an absolute great moment, and hopefully they can keep that momentum going. It was great. But 2001, obviously, Edge's return. I've got to mention that was that
which one? Most recent
2019, I think he returned.
Yeah.
That whole Rumble was brilliant because it set up Brock as everybody was cheering him, and everybody was like, and then it got to a point where we've had enough of this crap now. Edge returning, which was like, for me, so I try and stay away from the internet because I don't want to know. Because if you'd have seen me, I might NJB's in the chat somewhere. He can verify. I jumped out of my freaking seat when Edge's music came on. But the fact that Drew McIntyre won it, I felt at the time, I think I said it at the time as well, Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble was the right person, because it felt like the 3 years prior, it wasn't the right person that won the Rumble. That's how it felt at the time anyway. I was like, it's amazing. Unfortunately for Drew, obviously COVID hit, and then he had to beat Lesnar in front of nobody, which I feel so sorry for that bloke, his journey and everything. So yeah, in 2016, I want to mention quickly, AJ Styles making his debut was like a sign at the time that things were changing in WWE a little bit, and like actually we're going to recognize these guys that have never been really recognized in WWE. The cameraman messed up the actual initial shot, if I remember rightly. But when I saw the other video they released later, when you see "I am" and then it says "phenomenal" and the freaking reaction of the crowd was like, it's very similar to Y2J's intro in '99. With when you see the name Flip Jericho and the crowd just pop.
Yes.
So yeah, those are my
the best debut of any wrestler in the history of wrestling for me.
Jericho's definitely 100%. 2007 comeback was freaking amazing as well, to be fair. But yeah, those three. So 2001, 2016, and 2019. Was cool. Yeah. But there's again, the whole 2019 Rumble felt like just everything was right for a change, and it felt like the stars had aligned, no pun intended, and just like it was brilliant. But then I just, like I said already, felt sorry for Drew, really. Mania and the Performance Center,
And that was such a shame, wasn't it?
And I think that the Drew Rumble really kind of put pay to the attitude that Brock doesn't make wrestlers, because in that one match he made Drew a made man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way he reacted to Drew eliminating him, and the fear in his eyes, that was so well done. I know Brock comes off as kind of like he's there for the money, but he knows how to do business. He knew that Drew was the guy to pass that baton on to. Yeah, and I think I like that Rumble so much because it's almost two Rumbles in one. You get the whole kind of Brock thing at the beginning where he's just absolutely decimating everyone, kind of like Austin did in his Rumble. But then when you get Drew coming, it becomes a whole different show. And this was like kind of the making of Drew. And yeah, it was absolute a crime what happened to him, and having to kind of work that pandemic era. And props to him for carrying it off with such class. I think he really did himself a lot of justice by the way he carried the company in that awful time. But yeah, great Rumble.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I mean, returning back to 2001, then we have a couple of moments in the undercard that kind of help shape the Rumble match itself. First of all, we have Drew Carey knocking around backstage, and he's looking for advice because he's got his own pay-per-view coming up, apparently, and speaks to Vince, and Vince basically, he ends up getting lumped into the Royal Rumble, effectively. And then we also have Austin costing Triple H the WWF title in the title match there with Kurt Angle, sort of returning the favor, I guess, because Triple H cost Austin a few weeks previous on Raw, and that also comes back to haunt him, I suppose, in one way or another in the main Rumble match. The match starts with Jeff Hardy and Bull Buchanan. Good old Bull, eh? Fantastic stuff.
B squared.
B squared, that's right.
B squared, Jesus Christ.
Matt Hardy is like third, and we end up with Bull going quite early. And this, again, is another thing I love about the Royal Rumbles. We had it with Demolition back in, I believe it was 89, potentially, maybe 90, I'm not sure, where tag teams are genuinely going to face off against each other. And it's exciting.
Well, we get a little snippet from the APA earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Who they sat around the poker table, and they're talking about whether they'll end up having to face off against each other, comparing numbers and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's every man for themselves in the Royal Rumble, and this kind of nails that rule down.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great to, I mean, again, it's ways of telling the story, isn't it? I suppose you can have factions working together like the Nexus did with CM Punk at one stage, and that was a really cleverly done sort of section of that Rumble, and then seeing tag teams fight each other and potentially tag teams splitting up over the Royal Rumble as well. It's quite a good booking device, I suppose, this match. You can go various different ways with different aspects.
Yeah.
But the way we go here is basically Drew Carey does enter at number 5, and the Hardys end up eliminating each other, which then leaves Drew Carey stood in the ring, sort of arms above his head, going, "Well, this is bloody great. I'm loving this.
I'm going to win. I've won the Royal Rumble.
There's no one else here."
Jeff Hardy's bump though, when because Matt pulls onto his his top or whatever tied around his waist. I'm thinking, was he meant to do that? Because I don't remember this being as hard as it was, and it sounded like that freaking when he hit that mat. I was like, oh, I bet he had the wind knocked out of him there.
Kind of a splat, isn't it?
Hanging on, you know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, sadly for our buddy Drew, he's not the winner of the Royal Rumble, and number 6 is
best line in that is, by the way, is sorry before you get off there, is take your glasses off, you're not a Dudley.
Yes, we have Kane entering at 6, and some brilliant comedy here. This tickles me every time I see it. Drew Carey tries to shake Kane's hand, doesn't get anywhere with that, and then offers him money. That is superb.
I love that.
Can you imagine though if Kane had taken the money and just pocketed it?
And just popped over the top rope and went, "Ta-da, then."
But this was milked for as long as they could. I mean, the way Kane kind of ambles down to the ring, walks all the way around, they know that as soon as he gets in that ring, there's not going to be much that him and Drew can do. But yeah, it was the good thing about Royal Rumble is you get these little comedy moments like this. This was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it in a moment. I've kind of written down what I've got there because to me the match is broken up into different sections. This Rumble, as we mentioned with the Lesnar Rumble being almost like 2 matches. Yeah, this is kind of similar for me. But we get Drew Carey again offering the money and he's eliminated. Then Raven arrives. And it kind of goes quite hardcore for a while, doesn't it? So we get
ridiculously hardcore.
Al Snow with a bowling ball. Oh my goodness!
I hope he's wearing a cup because it's just I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he would have because he kind of picks his legs up as well. I'm thinking gravity is not going to help you there.
No. So I don't understand how he could. Yeah, you're right, Benny. I don't understand how he could have got away with that not hurting somehow. Even with Al Snow, proper wangs that ball at him, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
That hurt. Even with a cup, that's going to crush something.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy stuff.
I think the cup became a diaphragm actually, in that.
We get the hardcore guys: Al Snow, Raven, and so on. Peter Sutcliffe impersonator, Steve Blackman.
I never got on board with Steve Blackman. I could never get on board.
What?
With Lethal Weapon. I
like that.
I probably missed the bit where he was good. I don't know, but I never got on board with it at all.
So you need to watch Steve Blackman and Al Snow as Head Cheese. That is one of the best tag teams. And when they come up with loads of stupid gimmicks, I think one of them was like the detectives or the time traveling detectives where they go back in time to solve crimes. Yeah, those two were gold together. Absolute gold.
Was it WrestleMania 16 when they actually brought out a little slice of cheese that kept slapping his bare arse?
That's I do remember.
Just surreal. After Kane has basically eliminated everybody, we get the first, I suppose, proper big surprise other than Drew Carey, the first wrestling surprise, I suppose, with the return of the Honky Tonk Man. And I get a real big kick out of this because when 2001 came around, I still very much was dependent upon my DVDs and VHS tapes and so on to watch my wrestling. And one that I played to death was SummerSlam 88, SummerSlam 89, and other things like that with Honky Tonk Man involved in it. So when his music hit, I was like, no way. And seeing him come out, it being somebody I recognised from watching these tapes back and seeing them live at that point, it was so surreal for me, you know?
Yeah, it's almost kind of like era that Honky Tonk was actually in this show, and we've watched this and we're talking about it this week because it was only yesterday that Danny and I recorded an episode of A Change in Attitude, and Honky Tonk returned in that episode as well. So in 2 days straight, I'm talking about 2 Honky Tonk returns.
Amazing. And he says, "Stand back, big fella," to Kane, doesn't he? I got some business to take care of.
Kane's head turns like a dog, like trying to figure out.
How good is that? Amazing, because he's got this long hair and he's wearing this mask, but yeah, just by tipping his head, or when he shakes his head slowly after this moment, he really puts forward. I don't want to say emotion, but it's like he's putting forward stuff without having to make facial expressions, without having to deliver lines, and I think it's brilliant. What have we got there? Dan Griffin in the chat. Honky Tonk Man is a massive fucking arsewipe, one of the most pimple dicks to ever pimple dick.
I mean, he says that, but then he also puts this, which kind of negates what he says about Honky
Kane,
Tonk.
the rightful Royal Rumble winner 2001. I'm not sure about that.
I don't agree. I think he's very selfish in this Royal Rumble, eliminating all them people.
Yeah, that's it.
You would never get Roman Reigns doing that, would you?
Jeez. No. One other comment quickly before we move
my
on.
My name is Kane.
Connor McCabe in the chat there saying Rumble 94 is the greatest of all time. He believes it is the one that Flair won for the vacant title. Flair won in 92.
That's 92, sir.
But yeah, 94 was when Brett and Lex Luger went over the top rope together, and it was a draw, and they both went on to WrestleMania 10. Yeah, so just to clear that up for you there, my friend. Honky Tonk Man gets his guitar smashed over his head, lobbed out of the ring.
Style.
Oh, absolutely walloped him, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then we get, I suppose, the next section of the match, because we get some bigger names start to arrive, because we have The Rock turn up at number 13, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Now, his pop was big, but I didn't think it was as big as some of the later guys, like Austin and so on.
The Godfather's pop at 14 was huge.
He was always over in that suit, mate. He was always over. Yeah, it's you get a bit of a lull after The Rock, though, for me. And there's something about this Rumble that I didn't really remember. I was look back on it so favorably and remember all the good moments, the Honky Tonk Man, Drew Carey, the ending, and all these great sections of the match. But after The Rock arrives, and I know the purpose for it, because you've got to fill the ring back up so the bigger names can come in and clean house, for want of a better term. But you get the likes of Bradshaw and Albert and the Honky Tonk, Hardcore Holly and Test and so on coming in. Again, like I said, I understand the purpose, but after all the fun and the brilliance of the first sort of 13, 14 entrants, this felt like it kind of dropped into a bit of a lull for me. Did you two pick up on that at all, or are you okay with how that went? Or
no, I thought it was fine. I think you made a good point about they need to fill the ring back up after Kane's had his period of dominance, and we've got the return of Honky Tonk. So I think they played it pretty well with some wrestlers coming in and be able to stick out a little bit, but then still throwing out people like Taz after 10 seconds or so. So yeah, I think it works pretty well that we start getting a build up, because you don't want a Kane performance where it's so dominant that you're getting down to the final 4 or 5 wrestlers and it's just him in the ring all the time. You do need a little bit of action, or else you can kind of like you can turn your audience off, I suppose. So I think Rock coming in and kind of balancing out against Kane and being able to take it to the Big Red Machine to allow other people to be able to get in and work, it makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, Albert and stuff did actually make, Albert managing to pick up for the Kane and hitting the Baldo bomb. I felt like at the time they thought they were maybe trying to like push him a little bit and then do something with him. Bradshaw obviously hitting the clothesline on the Rock, and I still wince at that to this day because it was freaking impactful. So yeah, I think Mags is right. Trying to build it back up again, like you said, you kind of cut the Rumble a bit like a cake. You have sections and you want to build up as it goes. One thing I do want to mention very quickly is obviously Taz got eliminated. I remember watching this Rumble on Sky, so I watched it live, and I was watching on the network earlier, and I know they do this a lot on the network, don't they? They redo things or they put things in or whatever.
Yeah.
When the original thing happened, Taz comes in, he gets eliminated, and there's a bit where Kane and The Rock are kind of going at each other, and there's a bit of lull from the commentary team. It just sort of goes quiet for about, 20 seconds, It feels like. In the W Network version, they show the replay of Taz getting eliminated, but nothing's said. So I feel like they put that, maybe that was supposed to happen live, but they put it back in after. It was so random. I was like, I don't remember this happening.
That was strange.
Yeah,
I thought I'd muted my TV.
yeah, it was very weird, wasn't it? Like a weird moment. Like, okay, don't know what's
Something
going
else with that as well. When the replay screen, I suppose, kind of zooms onto the screen and off again, there's no graphics. It's not like now when you have like a Royal Rumble logo or certain graphics that have the replays or the screen in screen zooming onto the picture.
Picture in picture, yeah.
Yeah. There's no graphics, there's no fanciness to it, which obviously WWE is very big on. It's literally just a black thing swings on screen, shows the elimination, it goes black again and swings back out.
Yeah,
it's a very rough edit.
Yeah, it's very strange, very strange. I saw that and I was like, that's really weird. But I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not just me going mental then.
Just moments, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. We then get the Big Show comes in to quite a reaction because he's making his return. Apparently, he's been away for a few months here. He's wearing a t-shirt that he's cut far too short for himself. Think it through, mate. If you're going to put your arms in the air, you need a longer body of shirt. Let's be straight. I'm a big fat bloke. I know this myself.
Yeah, this was not in good shape, Big Show. This was a tubby Big Show.
This is Big Show. I've been off for a few months and I've not once gone to the gym, Big Show.
But he turned heel and face again in this Rumble, so that's fair, I suppose.
Yeah.
He literally does have a switch on his back, doesn't he? Heel, evil, good, evil, good, evil, good, evil, good. I think too many times for that poor bloke because he could have been champion probably a few more times, to be fair, especially as a heel. But he flipped so many times.
Totally mismanaged. I think he was totally mismanaged. I think his
stuff with Undertaker was brilliant. I thought that was really good, but it was mismanaged.
Yeah,
he should have been used as a special attraction, booked as an absolute killer, but they had him on TV every week. They overexposed him, and that was that really. The sort of the mystical side, I guess, or the magical side, the special attraction side of the Big Show being this giant was took away because you see him every week, and it's just like okay, it's just another bloke, and then you beat him a few times, and it's just kind of all done with then, isn't it? So totally mismanaged his whole WWE career.
He could have been a Brock-esque style. His schedule could have been that, couldn't it? Really, which would have made more sense.
But instead, he's wearing a nappy and having a sumo contest.
Oh dear!
Or he's getting knocked out by Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather around and get a leg out from his mates just to catch him.
Big Joe could use Floyd Merriweather to floss his freaking teeth and chicken bone out of his freaking.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not saying that
the Rock
punch, but
the Rock sends the Big Show out. Big Show has a little tantrum about this. He's not very happy that this has occurred. Grabs the Rock, gives him a bit of a pasting, smashes him through a table. And this was a clever way, I think, of getting the Rock out of the way, so you can have the whole Kane and Undertaker in the ring at the same time, eliminating a couple of lower card talents, shall we say, without actually having to eliminate the Rock. He's out of action, but he's still involved in the match so he can come back later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Kind of like the time when Vince went for a tour of the stadium whilst being in the Royal Rumble and then made his way back.
Yeah, 99. Was that 99? That was, wasn't
99.
It? Yeah.
See,
I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. Scotty Totty's face. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. He absolutely, poor Scotty Totty, he absolutely shit himself going to that ring, didn't he? He was like,
I'll give him some due, to be fair. He got in the ring. He didn't have to. He could. I'd have just stood there going, you can wait, lads.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks absolutely, and he's doing a really slow, almost sideways walk, isn't he? Where it's almost like he's considering just doing a bump.
He's just going, no, we'll go that way.
Yeah. But ultimately, Undertaker and Kane, they destroy a few people like Scotty 2 Hotty and so on, don't they? Before Austin's music hits, and we get a massive ovation to that glass breaking. This is what I remember about Stone Cold and the whole Attitude Era, the glass smashing, the crowd went absolutely batshit crazy every time it occurs. But he doesn't make it to the ring. Triple H catches him and gives him comeuppance.
Evil bastard.
Oh,
evil bastard.
What a complete
How dare you do what you did to me earlier?
Yeah. But then we get blood in the Rumble, don't we, Magazine? Yeah. Don't we, Benny? Austin's bleeding a gusher. Don't normally see that much blood in Royal Rumble matches.
Yeah, I think the image of a bleeding, bald-headed Austin noise is a sight. It's so good. I mean, the match what he had with Bret Hart, where he essentially passed out with blood, it's so iconic. So I can totally understand why they wanted to revisit that. And then we get that shot of The Rock and Austin in the ring facing each other, and the camera's going from one to the other. Yeah. Oh my god, that was tingling. Yeah,
Austin raising himself up, lifting his head up, and he's just like looking at The Rock. Is just
and he's got that little sly smile, and The Rock's like eyes are almost out on stalks in temper. Yeah, that's
and the crowd. The crowd are building and building and building for that whole moment as well, because of the guys because The Rock and Austin just being so bloody good at what they do. They could have quite easily stood up, walked to the middle of the ring, started throwing punches, and the crowd would have reacted. Of course they would have, because it's two of the biggest stars of all time. But the way they did this, it just built and built and built. Oh, just absolute gold, brilliant stuff. And what's extra amazing for me about that moment, it gets likened a lot to the 1990 Rumble, when Hogan and Warrior face off for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
But with The Rock and Austin in 2001, you don't get a bloody crisscross, do you, where they're running from one side of the ring to the other, because that's one of the most nonsensical things I've ever seen in wrestling, and it pisses me off.
It's very, very annoying.
Eventually, though, we get down to the final four after we have...
Whoa. How dare you just mosey on past the return of Haku to the WWF.
I've got a note right here. See, this is you jumped in there, mate. You just if you let me finish.
Well, you said we were going to the final four.
I said eventually we get to the final four.
Okay.
After
this podcast
we see the return of Meng or Haku, who at the time was actually the WCW Hardcore Champion as well.
Yeah, he's literally was Sam for WCW. Yeah, he won I think he defended the title on a pay-per-view maybe a couple of weeks before. And then he'd actually been on that week's WCW Nitro, and then rocked up here at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And it was a big surprise too. And his massive mop of hair is fantastic, isn't it?
That's glorious, that hair.
Why is that not on the Monday Night War stuff? Because that would be a nice little thing to know, because I didn't know that. That's what?
Well, he essentially he was the first invader. Lance Storm can absolutely suck a fat one. It was Haku this invasion.
He's Canadian, like he cut thin over there.
I suppose it gets overlooked a little bit because WCW and by this stage was already pretty dead, wasn't it? It was only running for another 6 weeks potentially. And if anything in WCW, I mean, WCW at this stage was a joke. So the WCW Hardcore title was an even bigger joke, wasn't it?
You're telling me Vince Russo didn't save the company? Is that what you're telling me?
He did not, mate. He did not. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert,
bro.
2020, for God's sake! If you don't know this by now,
yeah.
All right. By the way, Bruce Willis is a ghost. All right, just move on.
So that's a touchy subject for me. My sister told me that before I saw the film.
My mum told me the same thing, mate. I knew he was a ghost going in. She's like, "I've ruined the whole freaking reveal here." Yeah. You know,
it's not good. It's not good. The final four though are Rikishi, Kane, Austin, and The Rock. Eventually, it gets whittled, and this is where I feel that Kane, he is kind of the star of this Rumble, even though Austin is the man who goes on to win it. Because Kane is in the final two as well. It's not like you could have used the excuse he's been there longer. He's eliminated all these different people. He's tired, and you could have gone with The Rock or whatever, or you could have furthered the Austin Rikishi storyline because Rikishi turned heel by this stage and they were feuding. But they really, really wanted to promote Kane, didn't they, with the role he had in this Rumble and him being the last eliminated as well.
Yeah, it comes out of this Royal Rumble looking like the monster that he should look like. Yeah, it's as much grief as I want to give him because it'll wind Dan Griffin up in the chat. Yeah, this was the Kane Rumble. When you look back at 2001, you don't look at it as the Rumble that Austin won. This is the one where Kane stood up as a main event guy.
Yeah,
best version of Kane, guys, do you reckon?
Yeah, I've always liked that. The classic Kane, and then this one where it's the gear is changed up a little bit and they've switched the black and the red. I'm not a big fan of maskless Kane. I'm not a big fan of metal mask Kane. I don't mind office worker corporate Kane. That's a pretty cool version of Kane, but yeah, this is the best one.
I think with corporate Kane, the office worker Kane, you get a little bit of comedy in there as well sometimes, don't you? Which is like an extra layer to the character, I suppose.
Well, we spoke about him over the Christmas period where he was forcing kids to have candy canes. So
yeah, that's good stuff. But there we go. Austin wins the Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania 17, faces The Rock for the championship.
Don't do really much there. Yeah, not really happens in that WrestleMania.
He obviously goes on and wins the WWF title, shaking hands with Vince McMahon. The Attitude Era is over. Yeah, that's it. The devil himself. The Attitude Era is over. Austin has turned heel, and Vince McMahon won. So there we go. After all that, Vince McMahon won.
That Rock Austin main event build-up was freaking amazing, though. That No Way, My Way, rather, Limp Bizkit track. It's just, I remember watching that SmackDown where they freaking start throwing punches and everything. I'm like, I can't wait to see this, because at this point, I've watched some back catalogue, but I've not witnessed it as it's happened. So for me, this was freaking awesome at the time.
Yeah,
I've watched so much,
And then you throw in the sit-down interviews with JR.
Oh my God, they were so tense.
Where you're getting The Rock saying you're going to get the very best of him, every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears, and then you get Austin saying, "I need to beat you. I need to beat you, Rock." Oh my God, yeah, that's the best build-up to.
Goosebumps, literally goosebumps, as you say in that, man. Honestly, goosebumps.
It's by far the best build-up to not only the WrestleMania main event, to any main event of a pay-per-view. It's so well done that pretty much the whole world was watching that show because of that. And then you consider the fact that Vince was juggling WrestleMania and then the Invasion and then the XFL. I still am blown away how he pulled off a damn near perfect WrestleMania with all that going on. Superb. He's a great businessman. Yeah,
exactly. And you get the gimmick battle royal, and that's always great. So then, fellas, ratings out of 10. What are we giving this? Benny, we'll start with you, my friend, seeing as you're the guest.
I think pretty much is probably. I think the only one that comes close to beating it would be 2019 for me. But yeah, I think I want to say, what do you do out of 10? You say, sorry?
11. We do
11. It's going to be 11. Turn it all the way up. It's not perfect, but because there are some moments in there where the Hardys are fighting each other and there's a drop kick and you hear Jeff, I think it is, do the clap and he kind of misses him by about that much, and Matt kind of goes and stuff. There are a few moments in there that are a bit what the hell. But so I will say like a freaking 9 out of 10 almost. Yeah, 9 out of 10 I'm going to go with. Yeah, it's not quite perfect, but it's definitely, I think a lot of that is nostalgia for me as well. It's freaking awesome match itself. So,
Yeah, no worries. Magsy, yourself?
Yeah, pretty much along the same lines. It's like I said, it's not my favorite, but it's damn close. And it's hard to really give Rumble matches a perfect score, because it is for the majority of the time, it's very, very basic. And you do get lulls, I suppose, but for just sitting down, turning your brain off and having an hour or so of just entertaining wrestling, you cannot fault this Royal Rumble. So I agree with Benny wholeheartedly, and this has to be a 9.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, this is going to be a little bit surreal, to be honest. It's a clean sweep, mate. It's a 9 from me as well.
Wow. We very rarely agree. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult because I've always in my life said that the Royal Rumble 92 is the best Rumble. But I'm a massive Flair mark. I'm a massive Flair fan. So am I being biased? I don't know. But I love Flair's performance and the Bobby Heenan's commentary. I love Flair's perforance and commentary and so on.
If Barry Windham was in the 92 Royal Rumble, would that tip it over the edge?
If Barry Windham was in the 92 Royal Rumble, and winning it?
No, just in it.
Just in it. If Barry Windham was in the 92 Royal Rumble, then they might as well have just stopped there and not bother putting on
that's the deeper. It'll never get better than this.
It'll never get better than this, yeah. No, I've always said 92 is the best. So if I'm going by 92 being the best, and that would have to be like a 9.5, 10, maybe, if in my mind from memory. This one is a very, very close to it. So a 9 is kind of where I go. I mean, you break the match down, it's got a good start, an exciting start with the Hardys. You get the comedy stuff. And then you get a hardcore segment. then you get a bit of a lull, but then the big names come in and you get an exciting finish. It does everything it needs to do. So yeah. I think it's a great Rumble.
Yeah,
I did think with Drew Carey very briefly that, like, is Drew Carey going to be the new Pete Rose and turn up at WrestleMania and start getting tombstoned by Kane every year for a little bit? I thought maybe that might happen, but it didn't, obviously. But that would be quite funny, to be honest, to see. Trying to get his revenge or something for making him run away or something, it just would have been funny.
Oh, man. Pete Rose, fucking hell.
Give the guy his flowers. He was very game for it to be beat up by Kane pretty much every year. So props to him.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
Even though he did cheat at baseball by taking steroids.
Yeah, but that's why he came to the wrestling. That no one else liked him anywhere else. You had
to get that anger out somewhere.
Yeah. So then, for I don't know, it's only maybe a handful of occasions in our 50, pushing nearly 60 episodes, I suppose, that we've had more than two options on the poll. But with Mr. Benny Mac joining us for this look back on 2001 Royal Rumble, we're going to have three options on this week's poll. So, Magsy, if it's okay with you, we'll start with Benny because he's our guest.
Absolutely.
I don't want to cause any trouble.
All right, Magsy, we'll go to you.
Well, I'm not going to be here next week, am I? So, I don't want to cause trouble.
So you can call shit, mark drop, and walk away and leave us to deal with it.
Right, so what you got for us then, pal? What you got? Where do you want to link to next week?
Well, Austin, as we've already talked about it, and obviously I've already said this year is a great year for me anyway, but the fact that Austin won the Rumble, my only natural sort of link would be to go to the No Way Out and the 3 stages of hell between Triple H and Austin. The video promo, the build up to this was freaking amazing. The fact they couldn't touch each other, the war, the words and stuff like that they did, and just how it all played out, and Austin stunning Stephanie and all this kind of stuff, and Triple H breaking JR. Did he break his arm? I can't remember. He pedigreed him, definitely. And then the video package right before the match, from everything that happened, from Austin being run over to the crane, Survivor Series, just all that going on. And then the fact they cost each other the title a couple of times, and then they can't touch each other, otherwise Austin will lose his title shot. And Triple H will be suspended for 6 months. I hated that guy when he attacked Austin, then signed the contract. But I was like, you evil bastard, but you're fucking clever. It was one of those. Triple H was the bad guy for a good couple of years in WWE. And just a very not that's linked to this, but the fact that he left a heel and came back in, after a quad injury and came back to almost to be greeted as a hero was really good. But yeah, No Way Out, 3 stages of hell. I think is a good match, to be fair.
Okay, great stuff. No Way Out 2001, that is, yeah.
It is, yeah.
So it's the pay-per-view following on straight from
literally
this one.
From this one, yeah.
Okay, so
another link.
That's right. Magsy?
Following the rules of the show.
Yeah. It's nice when somebody does it, Magsy. Where are we going if your choice wins, Mags?
So I'm following the rules of the show. My match is linked to this match by the means of it being a Royal Rumble, and it's one that Benny mentioned earlier on. Historical Royal Rumble. I want to go to 2018 for the first ever women's Royal Rumble from Philadelphia, I think it was, where Asuka was the inaugural Royal Rumble winner. So yeah, I want to go to Royal Rumble 2018 for the first women's Royal Rumble.
Well, that's a great shape. That's already a fantastic poll just with those two options on it, isn't it?
So don't you put one forward and we'll
okay. I'll see you all next week. No. Okay. So my choice that we'll be looking at next week, if it wins, is using a similar link to the way Magsy's done it. It's just using the fact that it's a Royal Rumble again. We're in Royal Rumble season. And the reason I've chosen this is because there was quite a few conversations on Twitter about it when we put forward 2001 as our topic this week. We had a few people saying 2001 was the best Rumble, 1992 was the best Rumble. I've said myself 92 is my favourite, but am I remembering it with rose-tinted glasses? Who knows? Well, who knows? Let's find out. So if my choice wins, I'd like us to look
naughty.
I'd like us to look at the 1992 Royal Rumble, and then we can literally on the show compare it to this one. because in my mind, these are probably the top 2. So we can have a little look at it that way. So
quite a bold statement.
Two of the 3.
2 of the 3, yeah. 2 of the 3.
I rescind my pick. I want that one to win now.
Well,
no, it's a great pick. I mean, there's no loser in that poll. A great match at No Way Out. 2 really good rumbles. Yeah, can't lose there. So
I feel like I've lost. I didn't pick a rumble.
Yeah, but that 3 stages of hell match, that's a barnstormer as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that goes on in that. It's a really, really good contest. So
it is.
I mean, whoever wins this poll is going to be, well, like Maxie said, there's no losers because we get to look at some brilliant matches, whichever way we go. So finally, then I will run through it once more. Next week's poll is Royal Rumble 92, Austin versus Triple H, 3 stages of hell, No Way Out 2001, or the Women's Royal Rumble 2018. Those are your 3 choices. The poll will be up as normal when the audio / podcast version drops midweek. Keep an eye on all our social medias there. Make sure you vote, make sure you retweet, and so on. Before we go, Mr. Benny Mac, do you want to let everybody know whereabouts they can find you on Twitter and elsewhere, and the shows you're involved in, and so on, my friend?
I do nothing worthwhile, so don't follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at Benny Mac, BENNYMACK. I'm trying to do some Twitch stuff, but with work, I am having very limited success at the moment. But obviously, the waiting room hopefully soon will be. I think we're aiming to get out in February. I think, Si. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The waiting room on Radio Tekkers. I'm trying to come up with a show and do something hopefully more with Radio Tekkers by myself, but it's also working a full-time job as well as this. It can be, and managing life, it can be quite hard to get it all done, but I want to do it, so I've got to make time somewhere. So and the waiting room, obviously, on Twitter at the waiting room. Waiting room is rating room _, isn't it, on Twitter?
That's right, yeah, waiting room, yeah. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining us, my friend. Magsy, whereabouts can we find you and the awesome shows and content you're involved in, bud?
Yep, thanks. And again, thanks to Benny. You've been an absolute star, and really appreciate you coming aboard on this and sharing your thoughts on the 2001 Rumble with us. But also, and I know I said this pre-recording, but I just want to make sure that everybody who listens and everyone in the CWF knows how massively appreciative we at Radio Tekkers are for not only the content that you produce. I mean, the waiting room is superb, and I absolutely love that show, and I can't wait for the next season. But for all the stuff you do backstage as well with the graphics and the artwork, you're a very totally valued member here at Radio Tekkers, and we massively, massively appreciate you.
We love you, Benny.
I won't go that far. We tolerate you, Benny.
That'll do. Tolerating is fine by me. No, I appreciate it. It's good fun when I have actually done stuff with you guys. This is actually the first time I've spoke to Mags ever. Actually, it's somewhat face to face. But making these logos and stuff, when I get a chance to do, I want to do more. But it's like I said, time is very short for me in certain areas. So, but I'd love to be able to, and obviously help grow this channel even more. So, but I appreciate what you guys do every Monday, apart from like one so far for a year. You've been doing this, so fair play to you guys. Keep doing it. And how you do so many podcasts, Mags? I have no freaking idea. Me and you need to talk.
It's an artistic way of time management, and I don't know how I do it myself. I really, really don't. I can certainly talk for you, but yeah, honestly, it's been amazing having you involved in this show and all the stuff you do for
appreciate it.
But in terms of me, you can follow me down here on the Twitters. It's the only social media I've got the time to deal with, at Podfather Mags. I'm all over Radio Tekkers with shows like 5 Rounds and the Volley with Matt. There won't be no Volley after this show because there's only been FA Cup football and no one really gives a shit about that at the 3rd round. But come and follow me. There's links to all my content all over my Twitter. So yeah, that's it. Come and join the fun.
Great stuff. You said that so miserably as well.
Don't join the fun. There's no fun to be had.
God's sake, you lot again. You can follow me at SJP Words on Twitter, where you'll find links and retweets and so on to the shows I'm involved in, whether that's the SJP podcast, whether that's the Waiting Room with Benny, whether that's Chain Wrestling itself, I guess, or the new venture I'm doing with our good friend Dan Griffin, the Doctor Who pod. There's various accounts for those shows, but if you chuck SJP Words at SJP Words a follow, you'll find the links for these other shows via that one. But most importantly, you can follow this show at Chain_Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and as always, that TikTok thingy, but it ain't worth it because I never do anything on it. So there we go.
Start doing the latest cool dances on TikTok.
You reckon? I've asked Liv if she'll help me figure out TikTok, and she said, "Oh, do I have to?"
No. No, Dad.
So there we go. There we go then. So the poll will be up midweek. 3 fantastic choices. Benny, thank you so much for joining us, mate. I've an absolute blast. It's been awesome, even though most of the laughs have been at my odd biscuit choices and so on. But no, it's been great having you, my friend.
I appreciate it.
I will see you next week.
You certainly will. Bye-bye.
And I'm off now to fantasy book Barry Windham returning in this year's Royal Rumble and winning the whole fucking thing.
God. The Stalker returns. See you later, folks.